What is going on, everybody? Happy, what's today? Monday. Happy Monday, NFL Draft Week. We are bringing you our draft show here on Casino Gaming TV with me, the DGen, Dice DGen, Chris, and I got my two co-hosts. We got our normal co-host, Ian. Ian, how are you this evening?
Yes, how you doing?
Doing
Can you not
good,
hear me?
doing good. No, I got you. I can hear you now. Doing good. Always good to chat some football with you. And good friend Derek, Mr. Blackburn. How are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm good, Chris. Ian?
Little first time
Hey,
caller
Derek.
or long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be breaking down the NFL draft. It starts this Thursday night, goes all through the weekend. But we're all three of us are excited for the NFL draft and making it interesting already with some trade news today. Aaron Rodgers, for those of you guys who don't know, Aaron Rodgers was traded to the Jets. Can't say it was surprising, but the trade happened. So interesting there. Ian, thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, you knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. I got kind of tired of sitting and hearing about when he was going to get traded, what he was going to get traded for. You knew it was going to happen this time. This is when we're going to see the trades starting to happen. You can hear more and more of rumblings around to not only Aaron Rodgers, but potentially D-Hop. I almost text you this week because there was rumors flying around that the Eagles got Derrick Henry possibly. And all of a sudden, I'm sure you were just licking your chops on that because right now you got Penny as your lead running back. Good luck with that. We tried that for 4 years out here in Seattle. But Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he wanted out. Let's be honest. He went into his little cave for 4 days and whatever he did to look into himself and figure it out. I'm glad he's still in the league. He is a little bit of a different character. He's beats to his own drum, but I'm excited to see that, and they didn't give up that much. When you look at it, you give up, basically maybe 2 second-round picks to get out of it, and they move up 2 spots. I mean, how many people are you going to get in 2 different spots? Rumor has it, though, is that, now maybe for the first time since 2004, Green Bay actually going to draft a receiver potentially now instead of picking an offensive lineman. So I'm glad it's over with. Now let's move on to the other trades that are going to happen. I'm sure Trader John out here in Seattle is going to have something going on for us as well over the next week, so for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I guess it would be fitting, right? Draft a wide receiver as soon as Aaron Rodgers is gone, when that's
For
really all
sure.
he wanted was a receiver in the first round. But Derek,
For
what are your
sure.
thoughts on the trade?
I think that might be the key to the first round pick swap, too, is to jump New England for Green Bay, because New England, we know, needs a receiver. So if Green Bay does have a receiver that they want to target, I think that's where they start coming off the board.
Yep.
And then I think acquiring Rodgers for the Jets is a 2-part thing. Like, they can immediately be a Super Bowl contender with the roster and the coaching staff that they have. And then now you add somebody who can maybe mentor the immature, maybe not so good practice habit kid and Zach Wilson, and you don't completely give up on him like you did with Darnold and some of the other guys that they drafted previously, Minshew, and a couple of the other ones, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point too. We were talking about a little bit in the pre-show there with that. So, interesting to see. I can't, say any of us were surprised it happened. It was more or less like Ian said, right? It's when is it going to happen? Not if, but more or less when. It was really Jets or nobody. So interesting there. Changing it up a little bit before the draft. We'll see if anything else goes on. But let's say hi to some people. SJ's here, Jim is here, Badger. Also, Victor's here. What's going on, Victor? Victor has the Jets and the Giants to win the Super Bowl. Well, with the Aaron Rodgers trade, the Jets might be a good one. The Giants, I don't know about that because I think
Homer
Blackburn.
pick.
I think Blackburn and I might have some things to say about the Giants that we can agree on there. And we got Chiro. Chiro, go Chiefs. I mean, hey, room. Chiro, Mr. Chiefs fan, defending Super Bowl Chiefs. But, so NFL draft this week. Derek, you're going to be there. How excited are you to be there?
Yeah, pretty excited. This is going to be my third draft in person. I got a group of people that we put together every year, and it seems to grow a little bit each year. So if anybody is willing and interested in wanting to go, maybe next year in Detroit, or is going to be in town this weekend, hit me up either on one of the Discords or whatever. I think we got 7 people right now. We got a golf outing scheduled for Friday. We're going to do a dinner one of the nights, and then we usually do like a little competition doing all the different drills that they offer at the combine or at the draft event, kind of like the combine stuff: 40-yard dash, vertical jump, passing drill, field goal kicking. The field goal kicking in particular led to some pretty good trash talking for the last 12 months.
I
One of
can
our guys
imagine.
is on a tour of redemption because he was a high school kicker and he was the only one out of the group not to make a kick.
That's priceless.
So
That is priceless.
he's pretty upset. He's been dwelling and stewing for about 11 and a half months. So it should be a good time. I'm going to call out Chiro being a Chiefs fan because he lives close enough to drive in, first of all. Second of all, his city's hosting it after they just won the Super Bowl, and his butt's not going to be there. That's unacceptable in my mind.
Well, we all know how Chiro is sometimes. He's just not about it.
Yeah.
He says he's a Chiefs fan, but I don't know how much of a Chiefs fan he is. I think he's only a Chiefs fan when we're rooting for the Eagles and other stuff during the Super Bowl. But it is what it
Or
is,
when the big game's on and everybody's watching.
right? Who else joined us? Chris TX Dicer joined us. Jeff from Mid Atlantic Craps just to see Blackburn. Appreciate you popping by, Jeff, after your show. I was there in
Thanks,
chat.
Jeff.
I
You
didn't
too.
say anything, but I was there. Um, yeah. Chiro said maybe next year. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You mean
I've
when
heard
your
that
team's
one
not
before.
hosting it after they just won a Super Bowl? Come on. If you're gonna ever go to a draft, that's the one to go to.
For sure.
Literally, right? All right, so I guess we're talking about the draft. So let's pop into the draft, right? Interesting board this year. Could play out a couple different ways, and we were talking about it a little bit before. But there's been some shakeups in like the rankings and some of the boards and some of the mock drafts that I've been seeing coming out. So very very interesting to see who may go where. But I'm gonna put the draft board up in the order for everyone so we can see it. And let's get this up. Boom. All right, so the draft order this year is going to be the Panthers from the Chicago Bears. We got the Texans, the Cardinals, the Colts, the Seahawks. Seattle
That's
Seahawks right
right,
there
baby.
in the 5 spot. Then we got the Lions, the Raiders, the Falcons. The Bears are the 9 spot because they traded with Carolina. We got my Eagles, number 10. Blackburn, where's your Cowboys? At 26.
Yeah.
Okay. They
That's
had
a
a good year
perfect
last
spot.
year.
That's a perfect spot to land a Bijan, I think.
Oh, you think that
Okay.
guy's going to make it past Atlanta?
He's a
That guy
running
ain't going to
back.
make it past Atlanta.
Nobody cares about running backs.
Yeah,
This is
that's true.
right?
All right, so we're going to talk about players. So let's start talking about players. All right,
Let's do it.
switch. Let's switch here. Do you guys want to go in order, or you want to go by position?
I mean, the elephant in the room is the 4 quarterbacks, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm going to pull
that's
them
going
up.
to dictate basically the entire first round is how the 4 quarterbacks land.
100%. Who do you think, Derek, first quarterback off the board?
I think the Bryce Young is a lock. He canceled the rest of his visits late last week. Carolina's GM or whatever came out and said we haven't told him that we're picking him, but then also discussed a lot of other stuff that how they would utilize him and so on and so forth. So I think that's the worst kept secret right now. Bryce Young is the number 1 pick to Carolina.
Yep, I would have to agree with that. I mean, I know back after like the pro days and stuff, and after the combine, everybody was high on C.J. Stroud. I've never been super high on him. Do I think he'll be okay? Yeah. I thought Bryce Young was going to go. Obviously, there's question marks with his height and his stature behind the line. But I think Bryce Young clear cut number 1 going to the Panthers. They need a quarterback badly. And like you said, right, that he canceled all his visits. I think it's pretty much a done deal. Ian, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer for them. I mean, they didn't move up to the first overall pick to not take a quarterback, right? You got a brand new owner that wants to spend money. He wants a quarterback to lead his team. He thinks Bryce Young is the guy. It's so crazy on just, how much movement's been happening between the four of these. I mean, you got Bryce Young all of a sudden, C.J. Stroud was in for a while, and then Bryce Young, back and forth pretty much between those two. But now you got Levis and then Richardson potentially falling back into the later part of their first round could be crazy as well. Then you got Hendon Hooker, a guy that I was hoping would be available in the second round for the Seahawks, so they could draft defense was what they want to do. But for me, I feel sorry kind of right now for C.J. Stroud. He come out and tell he did got an 18 on the Wonderlic, and all of a sudden they're talking about him falling out of the top 15. I mean, that guy, all you got to do is go put the tape in against Alabama. That kid did good. Now, if you want to know where his struggles are, go put in the tape of Michigan twice. Struggled there big time with Michigan twice. But, I mean, that guy's got the, he's got the body frame. He's a big kid, strong arm. But the question is everybody wants a winner, and everybody thinks Bryce Young's the winner. So I agree with you guys. Number one overall pick for sure for Carolina.
Yeah,
Quick,
I would have to.
Sorry, I was going to say quick caveat. Today, the line for number 2 pick or number 2 quarterback, I'm not sure which line it was. I shared it with you earlier, but Will Levis or Levi moved up as the favorite, minus 140, I think, or plus 140. Yep.
Yeah, I saw it because you sent it to me, and I was telling some of my buddies a while back here that I thought he was my number 2 quarterback in this draft. Personally speaking, I like him. I don't like him over Bryce Young, but for me he was number 2. Looking at this board, I think C.J. Stroud's a talented kid. He's got a lot of things that could make him into a potentially good NFL quarterback. But I there's question marks around him, and especially on a team where he might be going to a team that's not very stacked at the wide receiver position, not very stacked at running back or anything. I think he might struggle there a little bit, and I don't think he's good enough to overcome just a bad offensive team. So that's why he's a question mark for me. I think Will Levis is a stud. I think, like I said, he was my number 2 in this draft this year.
Tape was really, really bad. And I heard a lot of the interview process for the combine and pro day and the private workouts. He didn't do himself very much justice. He came across really arrogant, really cocky, had that I don't care attitude. That's what I've heard from numerous reports or whatever. But
yeah, I saw that too.
His 2021 tape was phenomenal. So.
But he was hurt. I'm a big Kentucky guy, guys. So I'm more basketball than I am football. But the kid was
he was dealing with injuries.
Night and day. I mean, he had a foot injury that a lot of people were saying they couldn't believe he's playing. Now, look at that kid's body, though. That kid's cut. You talk about a guy that's going to take a beating probably if he does end up going, somewhere like Houston. He's going to take a beating. You get a little guy like Bryce Young. I don't know if he can handle up as well as Levis can. Levis got a cannon for an arm, but I live in Seattle and I've never had a cup of coffee, but I watched that kid put mayonnaise in his coffee, and I was like, "What are you thinking, dude? That is the craziest thing I ever seen. Is somebody put mayonnaise in coffee?" So, you're 100% right, because he was just being a cocky little guy, and everybody was saying just, where is he getting this from? He doesn't have the tape that he had in 2021.
And he skipped the Senior Bowl, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way as well.
Yeah, 100%. So
yeah, I think the interesting question here too is you see on a lot of
owner.
Yeah, I mean, one owner could definitely turn him around. Richardson, after his pro day and after the combine and stuff, I mean, he shot up a lot of boards. But I think the interesting question here is I see a lot of books, over under 4.5 quarterbacks in the first round. What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be under. I think the risk is too high with Hendon Hooker coming off ACL. He's 25 years old. He's going to be 26 in October, I think. Yeah, I don't think you can take him in the first round. Granted, you get that 5th-year option, but is that enough to is that enough to use that pick and put out that guaranteed money for a guy who's basically going to redshirt and be a 26, 27? We saw that with Wanky quite a few years ago. It didn't work out. Like, I don't know.
I think somebody's going to end up sneaking towards the back half of the round, sneak up out of the second round and give something up in order to get him. I think I think all five will kind of go.
I think Minnesota would be a good landing spot for him.
100%. Yep.
If I had to put a name to the team that could do it.
Yeah, because he could sit for a year behind Cousins, and they're already saying that he's pretty healthy as it is, anyways. But still, an ACL that short amount of time ago, that's going to be tough to overcome. As far as Anthony Richardson, it's crazy. You hear him going anywhere from 3 to 23. Based off of well, I mean, if you look at his book of business, it's 13 games is all we got on him. 55%, or 54% completion rating. But that guy is off the charts athletic. I mean, just go look and see what he did during the combine was unbelievable. His 40 was amazing. His 40-inch vertical. He was throwing bombs like you wouldn't believe. He's going to be that kid where what's the floor versus what's the ceiling, and who do you put in the right place to be able to coach him up? But look at that. He's almost 6'5", 245 pounds. Runs through people. I mean, you could put him into some I like to call it now the Philly package. Put him as the quarterback and push everybody through the line and get 4 yards every time you want to do that. That guy's he's a beast. But it'll be interesting to see if Hooker makes it into the first round or not. I mean, that's going to tell the story right there about whether or not it's going to happen. But there was a lot of talk up here in Seattle about them taking either Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, or Jalen Carter, and then coming back and taking Hooker with the 20th pick. Pete and those guys are you guys all saw it. I don't know if you didn't, but they were taking selfies with all four of those guys, in their pro days, and ranting and raving about them. The only thing to watch out here is Will Levis is his offensive coordinator's really good buddies with the Seahawks, and he says he'd be a perfect fit for the Seahawks. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think we're going to go defense, but sure would be nice to be able to take a quarterback. I don't know when we're going to get back up here high enough to draft a quarterback again.
I've read a bunch of reports saying the Colts are really liking Levis too.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Richardson's the more premier pick for Seattle based on the fact that you just got Geno on a Pro Bowl comeback player of the year.
Yep.
You got him to a 2 or 3 year deal depending on how you want to look at the structure.
Could be a 1 year deal.
Let him sit behind Geno for a year. Let Pete coach him up. Let them work with him on his accuracy issues, kind of like Josh Allen did with his first 2 years in the league. And you guys could have better than Russell Wilson for a Russell Wilson pick. You just have to wait 2 years to get it.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
Definitely could be. It definitely could be. And I think that kind of rounds out, the discussion with the quarterbacks and stuff. And Nuts and Bolts asked, what type of players do we think this draft is strong in this year? And I would definitely say it's not the quarterback position. I think, there's some solid guys here, but nothing that's, earth shattering. Personally, I think Hooker's going to slide to the second round. I don't see them taking him in the first round there, so I'm going to go under as well. But I think, Bryce Young, Stroud, Richardson, and Levis, they're gone in the top. I'm going to say top 15 picks, I want to say. I'm looking at the draft order and, what teams need. I think Levis is going to be the fourth one off the board to the Titans. I think they're gonna take him at 11. So the top 11 picks, I think 4-year quarterbacks are gone. But that's just my personal opinion. But what do you guys think strength wise? What do you think draft wise? What do we have strength in this year?
I think the strongest groups are the edge rushers and the offensive linemen this year. And then I think all the skill positions have a lot of good talent and a lot of depth, but no world beaters. It's not like the last couple of years where you had like a really top heavy draft class at the skill positions. Now, like running back, you have Bijan, and then after that, you got a bunch of guys that can be good but not great. I don't think there's any foundational backs past Bijan.
I
Guys
would
that
agree with
can
that
carry the ball
100%.
20 plus times a game and just build an offense around. Receivers, I think you could take the top 4 or 5 receivers and shuffle them in a deck, and nobody would argue that that guy should be first, second, third, fourth.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree with that. I think I was just cycling through them as you were talking about it, just so everyone can kind of grab a understanding of it. But I think for me, it's the edge rushers as well, with a lot of strength this year. I mean, I think you have two incredibly talented individuals at the top there with Will Anderson and Tyree Wilson. I mean, these guys are both just absolute studs. They've played, in great conferences. They've had just great success playing. So I definitely would agree that the edge rush is strong this year. Offensive line wise as well, I would have to agree. I think there's quite a few guys here that are solid offensive line candidates. Will they be starters in the first year? Debatable, depending what team they go to. But I think the edge this year is probably the most strength. But Ian, what are your thoughts?
Well, and don't leave out the tight ends. The tight ends this year are stacked. There's some really solid tight ends that everybody's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton Kincaid. I mean, I was watching this kid, being a Pac-12 kind of guy. I think he's a solid guy. But also, there's 3 solid centers. I mean, the only reason why I never look at centers because it's usually a makeshift type thing. But in all reality, we need one in Seattle. So I'm looking at the kid from Minnesota right there. They also
All Big Ten boys.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, you know it.
Feed them the oats and get them going. But there's some solid interior linemen as well, and there's some guys that can play multiple positions. I mean, that's the good part. Whether they're playing, either side of the guards or tackles and guards. I mean, that's huge for guys. How many people get hurt? You know what I mean during the year, especially offensive linemen. So, there's a couple of, at every position. There's no stack position. A couple of years ago, it's all about the receivers, and now you're hearing about receivers not coming off till the teens. And so, they're really good corners. In the upper part of the draft too. The kid from Oregon and the kid from Illinois. Witherspoon and Gonzalez there. I think both those, and then Vicksburg just hoping that Joey Porter Jr. falls into their lap. I can totally see them just taking that strictly off a name alone. So, it is from what my understanding is, and I've talked to quite a few people about it. It's not as a powerhouse of a draft as you would normally see, but there is some definite solid players in the upper parts of that. When we look at that, I agree with you guys, though. The edge rushers, there's some freaks.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about Wilson potentially coming to Seattle. The guy's got arms for days to be able to push people around, very strong, very quick off the ball. And that's what you need nowadays, especially, Seattle's running a 3-4 defense now. So I look at that and say, oh, man, boy, how good did he look on the outside? For sure, but
Are you hoping Anderson slides?
Well, to be honest with you, there's so much talk in Seattle. I think Jalen Carter's coming here, even though Pete and John have said, hey, we don't want anybody with, issues and stuff like that. But I really think they want Jalen Carter because everybody thinks he's the next Aaron Donald. Yeah, he's done with his legal stuff. He got a misdemeanor out of that. That's all he got out of that. He had to do 80 hours of,
community service.
Community service or something like that.
Little
Go
slap
sweep
on the
the
wrist.
front. Yeah, that's basically what it was.
Was there a fatality involved, though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
2 people
I
died
don't
in
know.
that. Yeah. Though the problem is for that guy, he left the scene and then came back. It's like,
Yeah, but he got to go
Not
pick
tough.
some trash in a local park, and he's done. So,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
tough.
I mean,
that's totally
you talked
what it
about
is,
the
yeah.
tight ends, Ian. One of my buddies on Twitter posted this earlier. Luke Musgrave broke a tackle once every 23 and a half receptions in college.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
For those counting at home, that isn't good.
That's like once every like what? I mean, if he's a tight end, he's probably
Every
averaging
23
maybe
and a half receptions.
5 or 6 catches a game if he's lucky. That's like
Well,
one
look at the stats. He's only got. He's a
He can
top
catch the
50
ball for
pick
sure.
11 times. Caught
He's
the ball
got
11
11
times.
catches for 169 yards.
Yeah, he can catch the ball. He just ain't going anywhere once he catches it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 No, that's
I do like him
interesting.
for Dallas if we miss on Bijan, though.
Yeah, because you guys got rid
there
of
you go.
Schultz, right?
Yeah, he went to Houston.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I know. I think the question itself was what's stacked this year, and like we went over, right. I think it's the edge.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't say necessarily that a position is totally stacked. I think you're going to see this first round. It's going to be in the first 5 picks. You're going to see quarterbacks and you're going to see the 2 edge rushers gone. I think you're going to go 3 QBs and the 2 edge rushers in the first 5 picks. After that, then we might start talking another quarterback, maybe some secondary action. Then we'll swing around to maybe an offensive lineman. But I don't think this draft. I think it's pretty well balanced, honestly, in terms of talent. There's been years in the past where it's just very QB heavy and everybody's taking QBs. There's also times where it's just very, very positional player based. This year, I think it's pretty well rounded this year.
Very deep.
Yeah, it is a deep draft. All right, shall we talk about who we think's going where?
Down. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, let's get the draft board out. I'm gonna get rid of this. All right. First pick, Carolina Panthers. Ian, I think we already addressed who's going where.
We all know that
in this pick, but
we already said that. Yeah, let's move on. We all know who's going there.
All right, Bryce Young off the board pretty quickly. All right, Texans, Blackburn.
So, originally I would have thought Stroud, but from what I've heard, they are not a big fan of Stroud. So I think that they try to trade out, and if they get somebody that wants Stroud, then they come up and get him. If not, I think they stay put and take Will Anderson.
Yep.
Because they do have a later first-round pick where they can try to address quarterback. They were fine last year with Davis Mills as their guy. They supported him. He didn't play terrible for the supporting cast that he had around him. Was very weak. So I could see them going another year knowing that we have a pretty deep quarterback class coming out next year with, the Utah kid and the USC kid. So
yeah,
Houston has shown that they're not afraid, and they got 2 firsts next year already because of the Deshaun Watson trade. So
yeah, I kind of like that move there. Thinking maybe the Colts might even want to try to slide up and secure their quarterback because they got the 4th pick. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a little trade there with the 2 and the 4 swapping. Especially if the Texans want, an edge, you like Anderson or a Tyree Wilson or something like that. I wouldn't be shocked if they slide down to 4, because I think the Cardinals are at 3. They don't really need a quarterback. They got Kyler, if you want to call him a quarterback. But we won't go into my Kyler Murray dislike. So
I've heard a lot of rumors of Tennessee trying to move up as well, potentially for a quarterback. So.
Yeah, they have 11 right now. That's where I think Levis is going personally, but
11 to 2 is a hard jump, though.
Yeah, that's a big jump. They're gonna have to give away too much. But yeah, I like the Texans either trading with the Colts, possibly, maybe somebody else. But I think if not, I think they're gonna take Will Anderson. And then we got the Lions at 3. Sorry, the Lions are at 3, not Arizona. The Lions are at 3.
No,
Arizona's at 3.
No,
Arizona's at 3. Then they might trade with the Lions.
Yeah.
No,
I'm looking at the thing, and I'm realizing the Arizona Cardinals are at 3, who may trade. I have my notes up, and
Arizona
I put Lions in there.
Arizona wants out of that pick worse than I think anyone wants to trade up at this point.
Yeah.
They have the
They have
worst
too
roster.
many needs. They have one
Yep.
of the
Way too many. Yep.
And their
The worst
quarterback
roster
is
in-
out for probably the first half of the season. They've already chalked this season up as a loss. They want to acquire as many picks and try to get as many skill players as possible.
100%.
But I think everybody knows that, and they're going to lowball them to try to get up to that spot as well.
But the question is, there's room for them to take somebody. You know what I mean? If you sit and look at it, the third pick, I mean, you only got two people in front of you that are going to be gone. Those are quarterbacks, and you're not going to take a quarterback anyways. You know, so you're going to, if you do stay there, and the GM was on, I don't know if it's NFL Network or Pro Football Focus, and he was talking about it, but he said, you know, we're listening to anything and everything. Now, I don't think they're going to get the same type of rollout as you potentially could have, you know, if they had other things in line. I agree with you. But I still think there's an opportunity for them to go move back a few spots, grab an extra second-round pick or maybe even 2 seconds to move up. And by all means, Jim Irsay, you know him, he wants a big-name guy. So he might move into the spot not knowing what Seattle's going to do at 5, if they're going to take a quarterback or not, and he wants to have his pick between them. He could definitely move up there, for sure.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are moving out of that spot. That's why I even put the Lions in there. I think the Lions are going to try to move up to try to get a quarterback personally. But, you know, the other thought there, if they don't end up trading out of it, are they looking for J.J. Watt's potential replacement in, you know, an Anderson or a Tyree Wilson? Not saying they're J.J. Watt, but, you know, they could be looking for you know, maybe a 2.0 version.
Yeah, I think if they stay put, they definitely go defense.
Yeah.
Either corner or edge.
I think it's got to be an edge rusher.
I think it has to be. I think it's too early to take a corner. Because I mean, Witherspoon.
You say that, but look at the division they're in.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. And
They got to guard DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett twice a year. They got to guard Debo Samuel and Ayuk twice a year.
Yep.
There's receivers in that division, and they do
Cooper
not have
Kupp.
a corner right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's
They got
the
like
rumor
Byron
of-
Murphy or something. That's their
There's the
guy.
rumor of the Buda Baker move too.
Oh,
I don't
trading
think
him
Buda's
away?
going
I think
anywhere.
they were working on a deal this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Eagles were one of the teams too that were
No,
involved.
I'm saying I thought I read this morning that they were working on an extension over the weekend.
Yeah. That's I think they're going to extend him personally, but I mean, you know,
Didn't he
Yeah.
already get extended earlier in the year, in the offseason? I thought Buda
No.
got extended.
No, he didn't
he's a
get
UW
extended.
Kid, so.
he was talking about it.
Okay.
Like he wanted the extension. They just didn't give it to him, I don't think. And you know, I think he'll get it, but you know, I don't know if they take a corner in that spot. I mean, that it could be an inkling to see, or maybe they're just trying to really shore up that secondary. Who knows? Because yeah, like you said, they got to play some tough guys, some tough teams throughout the year, and you know, it's a nightmare matchup for their secondary. But all right, so I guess we're all saying Cardinals are trading out. Most likely, if not, they're taking either an edge rusher or probably Witherspoon or Gonzalez off the board. But if they trade out, who do you think the best? Who do you think's trading with them?
At 2? Is
At
that what we're
3.
saying?
No, 3.
At 3?
Three. Cardinals at 3.
Yeah, I think either Tennessee or Las Vegas, personally.
Yeah, I mean, one of the
And I
people
think it's
that
to
you
get
don't.
Richardson.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
one of the things we have to look at as well is that, you know, don't forget about the Commanders. They want, you know, they're going to have a new owner coming in. You know, right now the question is, you know, if they already got the people who are in line for that Magic and that crew of people. Can't remember who the head guy is, but they're going to want to make a splash too. They might be willing to sell part of the farm as well to be able to move up to get one of these quarterbacks as well. So that, you know, I agree with you on the Tennessee pick because they came out and told everybody, hey, look, you guys want Tannehill, come get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's pretty hard when you to put on your poker face when you're telling everybody that's what that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just a big jump for the Commanders. They're really gonna have to sell the farm.
Well, the question is too.
they,
We got Trey Lance in the mix too, you guys. I mean,
that's true.
He's out there. Come get him. You could probably pick him up for a fourth round draft pick now, They're just begging to get out because they've got Donald in there, and I mean that's craziness, man. That
I
quarterback room is crazy.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. You got Brock Purdy coming off of a potential Tommy John surgery, which he was able to avoid for now, but we don't know how he's going to recover from that. And then on top of that, he's a 7th-round pick, no film on him. I'm not necessarily sold that he's the guy.
Yeah, he's one of those like Cinderella stories. You
gave up a lot 2 years ago for Trey Lance, and he hasn't really had a chance to blossom. I don't think you give him up for a 4th-round pick at this point. I don't think they're cutting their losses. I think they brought in Darnold as insurance policy in case both of the other two aren't healthy. But I think you're going to have to make him a pretty sweet offer for a 22-year-old quarterback that was traded up for and taken in the 1st round, who still has the same potential he had 2 years ago. He just hasn't had an opportunity to show it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at Jordan Love right now. Jordan Love, the Packers are all in on Jordan Love. He was drafted the year before, and he's just now starting to get some meaningful reps. Do you think you could give Green Bay a 4th-round pick right now for Jordan Love?
Definitely
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now you don't have a choice. Now you don't have anybody there in the background. So I mean, it's coming out of San Francisco that they're saying, hey, come get him if you want him. Come get him. That's the reason why they went out and signed Sam Darnold, right? So it's open now. Whether it's a 4th-round draft guy, I wouldn't give any more for a 4th round. That guy, you didn't see much out of him out of North Dakota State. Who knows what that kid can really do, right? I agree with you. There's no set ceiling to see what he can and can't do yet. But obviously, I mean, there's some issues there with him for sure. Or it wouldn't be a problem. They'd be saying, okay, yeah, he's our guy. And they're not coming out and saying that either. So I'm just saying somebody might sweep in, pick him up for, even if it is a 2nd-round pick, which I don't think anyone would give up a 2nd-round pick for him, but I think
John Lynch came out today and reassured that as of right now he's in the plans.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't think you get rid of a potential starting quarterback when yours is recovering from a major throwing arm injury.
It's fine with me. I'd love to see Darnold start the first half of the year as Seahawks fan.
Darnold's not going to see the light of day. He'll probably get cut. But the Niners don't even have a 1st-round pick.
No, they don't.
I don't know. Unless you get blown away with an offer from the Colts or somebody where you're getting high 2nd or even a 1st, I don't see how you get rid of Trey Lance at this point.
But I mean, speaking of the Colts, right? Because that's who we're going through now. I mean, I don't see them taking the Trey Lance or even wanting that offer, right? With let's say Bryce Young's obviously 1st. We already said that. C.J. Stroud could be 2nd. He could not be off the board. Maybe he goes 3rd. But you still have Richardson. You have Levis up there. Let's be honest. These guys are just as proven almost as Trey Lance. So why take the injury risk there with the Trey Lance? And you'd have to offer something for him when you have your 4th pick. You could just take him.
Yeah, and I think the bigger thing with the Colts is their GM probably doesn't have the leash length to take a Richardson here or developmental Lance. I think they need somebody who's ready to come in and play week 1 and at least get the fans excited and sell some season tickets because, I mean, he inherited the team the year that Andrew Luck walked away, I believe, and it's been a carousel ever since. I don't think that the owner is going to be very patient much longer.
Yeah,
they traded for Matt Ryan. That didn't work. They brought in Phillip Rivers for 2 years. That didn't work. They traded a bunch of picks for Carson Wentz. That didn't work. You only get so many shots at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So who do you think the Colts take here?
I think if Stroud's there, they run to the podium full sprint, but I've been seeing a lot that they're into Levis, so probably one of those two.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Levis is going to be on the board at 4. I'm not concerned there. But if Stroud's on the board and they want Levis more, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Colts maybe trade back. Um,
Nah,
even
I think
and
that's too risky, man.
it's risky, but they might do it because I don't know. I don't see Levis as a top 5 pick. He's good, but I see him in that end of the top 10 round there. So I don't know if you could trade to get him. I don't know, but yeah, I think they're taking a quarterback here, 100%. And trying to build, I guess, a franchise around whoever they take here, because like you said, right, Carson Wentz didn't work out, Matt Ryan didn't work out. Philip Rivers didn't work out, and then SJ's putting it in here. That's exactly this. Old quarterbacks, and they're trying to do things with the old quarterbacks or the broken quarterbacks with the Carson Wentz. He hasn't been good since the ACL injury. In Washington, he wasn't good. He was my favorite quarterback to bet on last year, to throw an interception. The over interception bet on him every single game last year was hit because it was just money in the bank. But Ian, thoughts at 4 for the Colts?
Well, I think they're going to take whatever quarterback's available. You hear a lot of that talking about, Levis. I'm not exactly sure on which one they're going to take. They're going to pick one of those. Irsay's already said that. He said he didn't want to be on the the Lamar stuff. He says, I'm not going to go that route. I want to bring in a homegrown guy. They brought in Gardner Minshew to basically be that stopgap in between to find out if one of these guys they bring in, if let's say they bring in Anthony Richardson, can you imagine him and Taylor in the same backfield together? What a combination that two would be. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, but
and so
it'd be crazy.
Yeah,
but that offensive line would have to be so stout. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, that offensive line
right?
better shed some pounds because they're going to have to run and block.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So, I personally on my draft board, I got them taking Levis here. I think C.J. Stroud's already come off the table in one of the trades. I think people are going to move up to take him just because he's proven he's a winner at Ohio State. So, when we look at this, and here's another quarterback coming off the top. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be 4 taken, in the first 4 picks, but I think 3 of the 4 are going to be gone by the time we get to this pick.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that, which brings us to the 5th pick. And I'm going to go right to you, Ian, because that's your Seahawks. Who do we got?
I would love to see, Terry Wilson here. The guy just looks like a complete freak. But I think they're going to make the safe pick and go with Jalen Carter. All the talk in Seattle right now, you guys, is, and if you're not hearing it because you're in different zones, Pete wants to bring back, like, the Legion of Boom stuff. And if you look at the draft picks we got last year, we got 4 starters last year out of the draft. I think that's exactly what he's going to go for, his defense here. I think he's throwing up all these smokes and mirrors to everybody, saying, look at all these cool quarterbacks. Pete he's never been somebody that's really, he's trying to throw some smoke screens. And don't be surprised if John Schneider trades out almost every year. So I don't think he can do that now and be able to walk away. I think Jody Allen's really pushing for him to get a marquee name. But I think it's going to be Jalen Carter from what I'm hearing from everybody out here.
Blackburn, thoughts?
I would defer to Ian. If I was a Seattle fan, I don't know if I would want Jalen Carter to be a top 5 pick for my organization. But like he said, me personally, I'd rather see the character guy of Tyree Wilson come in there, hardworking kid, speed rusher, long athletic freak.
Yeah.
But if you pass up on Jalen Carter and somebody does take a chance on him and he does turn around his off the field stuff, you're probably going to regret that for 10 years.
Turn into the next Aaron Donald,
Yeah.
And that was our weakness all last year. If you guys look at our 3 starters on the defensive tackles are all gone. So, they went out and made a trade, picked free agent up, grabbed Brandon Mebane back, So, Pete wants to build up that defense, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. What's really going to be the question is if Anthony Richards is on the board, which everybody says he's going to be, what do they do? What? That's the big talk around here. We have a bunch of
I
Seahawks
think Seattle's the
parties.
perfect fit for him as far as coaching
100%.
staff, having a quarterback in front of him to where he can, one, teach him what not to do early as a rookie. Gino went through a lot of that when he first came in the league.
Yeah, for
His
sure.
work ethic
Big Jets
wasn't
gun.
there, his leadership wasn't there, and it took him time to learn how to be an NFL quarterback. And he can maybe accelerate that process by giving him his lessons learned.
You're 100% correct. And Gino's even come out and said that. I hope
Yeah.
they draft a quarterback because I want to be able to help him learn the ways the first couple of years he's going to be in here. So,
Yep.
clutch. I mean, to have somebody like that, Aaron Rodgers
If somehow
didn't say that to Love, did he?
Could slide, if somehow
Yeah.
he could slide down to your second first round pick,
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
that would be
Crazy.
like the perfect storm for a Seattle fan, I think.
Well, they might even move up a little bit to get him, too. They got two first. They got 5 picks in the first, 50-something, 53 picks or something like that. So they got room
I
to
don't
move
see him
around,
sliding
too.
to 20, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
possible. I don't know. That's the thing with him. It's just there's
Almost
so
always
many
there's a
question
quarterback
marks.
that does slide, though.
That's true. They do, and I think he's the one this year who would slide, right? I think Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, obviously they're going quick.
Look at Malik last year. A
Yeah.
lot of people were saying Malik was going to be a first round pick. He went in third or fourth?
Yep. Yeah, he slid so far down that board. All I remember seeing on Twitter was like, how is he still available? How's he still available? And still nobody wanted him. Teams that needed quarterbacks didn't want him. So,
As we saw, he wasn't ready, and that's why.
exactly. All right, we got the Lions at 6.
This is
I
where I
think-
used to like Bijan before they signed David Montgomery, and now I don't think it's as big of a need.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree there. I think I'll go first here. I think here if they have a Jalen Carter available, I think they're going to take Jalen Carter. If not, I think they're going to go cornerback. I think they're going to go Witherspoon or Gonzalez there, and you're going to see that pick with if Carter's still on the board. I think you're still going to see him slide a little bit here because I think cornerback is going to go. You could go with the off the field issues there, but the Lions need somebody in the secondary. They signed Slay, which is good for them, obviously. And they've signed a couple other guys. I think they signed Mosley as well. So they've had some good additions there, but I think they're still looking for another person to really bolster that or to learn from those guys and be a good backup option there. Ian, what are your thoughts?
I think if Wilson's available here, that to match him up with Hutchinson, could you imagine that duo?
Oh,
that would
yeah.
just be. I mean, who's
Two-headed
faster?
monster.
No kidding. Talk about speed between the two of those guys. That would just be amazing to see those two guys be able to go back to back. Carter's an option too. I agree with you. I think definitely could use some help with Witherspoon, but right now, I mean, they don't have to worry about quarterback. They don't have to worry about running back anymore. I agree with you, Blackburn, on that one. I think they're going to either look at corner or they're going to look at an edge. I think if Tyree Wilson's available there for him, I think for sure they run to the podium and turn in that card because you're talking about bookend defensive ends for the next 6-7 years, and just rushing the heck out of everybody in the NFC.
Blackburn, thoughts?
Yeah, I lean more towards the corner on this one as well. But I could definitely see the appeal of having Tyree on one side and Hutchinson on the other. Because, I mean, that's the fastest way to win. And they're in a division that has quarterbacks that aren't very mobile and aren't very
good point.
Yeah.
Good under pressure. Having Jordan Love, who has a limited experience, Kirk Cousins, who as soon as he gets pressured, he either fumbles or throws an interception. And then you got Justin Fields, who can run away from you, obviously, but he doesn't make great decisions under pressure. So I think that's the key to winning the division right there is getting pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. The interesting here, though, Thursday, Friday, we got announcement of a 6-game suspension and a couple of receivers got cut.
Point.
So, but the fact that they have 2 first rounders, I think that gets pushed to the later first round.
I would agree. That's what I was thinking. That's my thought there is the second pick. They have what do they have? They have the 18th pick. I think that lines up for a wide receiver there for them.
Yeah.
I don't think you can take a wide receiver there at the 6th spot and pass up on the guys that are going to be there.
No, I
I don't.
agree.
I think that's a fireable offense for whoever's in that front office if they
Yeah.
would do something like that. Now, obviously, we've
Jefferson.
seen some crazy things in the past, but I don't think you can pass up with Tyree Wilson's there, if Jalen Carter's there, or obviously Witherspoon and Gonzalez are both going to be there most likely. I don't think you can pass up on any one of those 4 guys. So yeah,
Premium
I like
position.
that, 100%. Moving on to the Raiders with the 7th pick. Blackburn, thoughts?
I think this is where we could see Richardson go if nobody moved up to get him. If Stroud falls, I don't think he falls past this spot.
Yeah,
And if all the quarterbacks are gone, I mean, anyone on defense really, probably best available defensive player.
hmm
I don't think we have to worry about them taking Jalen Carter, honestly, because I don't think they want that publicity with the Ruggs incident. But
yeah, yeah. That would open up a whole thing.
I would
there.
say probably the best defensive player, maybe one of the tackles if they love them, just because I think they lost a tackle in free agency. But
Yeah, they lost. Who'd they lose? They lost. Yeah, they did lose somebody. Yeah, I think here, they're gonna try to go. I think they're gonna go quarterback here. Personally speaking, I think Richardson or Stroud will be available. I don't see both of them guys gone by this pick. And if they get nervous that one of them might be going, or if you see, the quarterback frenzy in the beginning where people just start snapping quarterbacks off the top, well, they might try to move up there. But yeah, I think a Richardson. I don't think he slides past 7 there if the Seahawks don't take him.
I mean,
At
McDaniels
5,
is the guy that drafted Tebow in the first round years back for Denver, so
that's true.
definitely not afraid to take a project.
Yeah, he's not. Ian, who do you think's going here?
Well, I agree with you guys. I think they're quarterback hungry. I think they want, if they have the right one, depending on who's on their board and how high somebody is on their board. They also need some offensive line help as well. So you could really look at, Skerlinski Hiller. I mean, he's a big kid. I don't, I know that the Bears are probably chomping on the bit trying to get them, but I really think they're going to go after a corner here and take Witherspoon if he's available. I think they like what he brings to the table. He's a shutdown corner, shut down half the field. He's thrown against, a lot of quarterbacks in the AFC West now. I mean, you got, Herbert, you got Russell Wilson. Yeah, come on, well, but when you look at it, quarterback is definitely an option, but I think they're going to go corner and take Witherspoon here.
Okay, yeah, I mean, viable. Falcons. Interesting pick here. Falcons need quite a bit of help in a lot of positions here. So, Ian, what are your thoughts for the Falcons here at 8?
Well, I think obviously they need an edge rusher. They need a running back. I've already told you guys, I think that's where Bijan Robinson goes. They need a running back, some help here.
Didn't they take Algier pretty high last year, though?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but you got somebody like Bijan Robinson. I mean, skills-wise, he's a top 5 pick. It's just there's clubs that don't need anybody right now, But
Yeah.
I really think, if Anthony Richards falls down here, I think they'll. Or excuse me, not Anthony Richards, but Jalen Carter falls down here. You can see them taking him as well. Just that block up that interior line. But, I think when you look at it, I think they've got to be somewhere on the defensive side of the ball right here. But if Bijan Robinson's available, boy, I tell you what, I'd take that kid. I mean, there was rumblings for a while in Seattle of taking him, even though we took Kenneth Walker III last year. It's like, why would we do that? But, everybody likes the new shiny toy, and he seems to be the shiny toy this week that is just going up draft board after draft board after draft board. So I got him going here to Atlanta. That's what I got.
Yeah, interesting thing here. They could be a candidate for Levis too. They could snipe him off the board if he's still there. I don't know. We'll see what they do. Blackburn, what are your thoughts there?
everything I'm reading, they like Algier and they like Ritter, and their defense was, if not the worst defense in football, they were like
Yep.
top 3 worst.
Yeah, they were terrible.
So I
Great
kind of
fantasy
agree with
31 out
Ian
of
as far as
32, I
that goes.
think. Yeah.
They might have been 35 out of 32. Like, so
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
kind of agree with Ian. Probably whoever
Yeah.
the best available defensive player, preferably pass rush or corner, somebody who's going to make an impact, somebody who's going to play a position for the next 10 years for them, is what they're probably looking for. I think it's a little early for Joey Porter, so if the other 2 corners are off the board, maybe they go with a Van Ness or Nolan Smith, local kid out of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Blew away the combine, blew away the pro day. He can play linebacker or pass rush, so maybe they use him like Dallas uses Micah Parsons a little bit. And the last mock I did, where I took all 32 teams, I had him taking Nolan Smith.
That's what I was just going to bring up is Nolan Smith right here. This
Smith,
might be a good spot for him. You know, you're talking about, you know.
I mean, you sell tickets, right? You get the local kid.
Homeboy.
They're coming off 2 national championships. He's a good
100%.
character kid, track athlete. He can play 2 different positions.
Yep, earning 90-plus run defense grade as well. I mean, that's ideally, you know, that's a great pick. Homegrown for sure.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say too. I think that's a good pick. I want to see him slide to 10 potentially for the Birds, but I don't know if he will. If he does, I'm happy with him. But if not, you know, it's a good story there. I got the Bears up at 9. The Bears.
Can we all just yell offensive lineman as fast as possible?
Yeah. Sherlinsky or Paris Johnson, who do you want? Take your pick.
If no lineman's taken off the clock, I think the Bears might pull a hammy trying to get to the podium.
Yeah, no kidding.
And Justin Fields might be the one that they run in with the pick.
Yeah, right. Get him up
just
there
to make
as quick
sure.
as
He's
possible.
like, just protect me. Give me a few seconds so I can throw to DJ Moore. I can throw to Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney.
They need some help there badly, very very badly. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement there.
They might try to name 2 or 3 offensive linemen just to see if they let them.
I mean, listen, they might get so excited they might not even realize that, you know, like a Skoronski might be there, Paris Johnson might be there. Hell, they might go down to like a Darnell Wright because they're so excited they need an offensive lineman. They might just stick a shock grab the wrong person.
Wright more than the other 2 personally.
Darnell Wright's a stud.
I like him better than I like the other 2, honestly.
All right. I'm gonna go first here with the 10th pick because that's my team.
Yeah, we're gonna skip this pick. They're gonna be late to do it like the Ravens were back in the day. Like 3 other teams.
That was Minnesota, wasn't it? Wasn't it Minnesota that did that?
Oh yeah, Baltimore was the one that rushed up and made a pick ahead of them.
Yeah. Listen, there's 2 schools of thought for me here. If you know, I think they're going to go defensively. I think they're going to go for an edge rusher, Nolan Smith, a Van Ness. But if Robinson's available, I wouldn't be shocked if they take Robinson. And I'd be very happy with them taking Robinson at 10 if he's still there.
So,
well, I think you have to look at that because you got Rashad Penny who can't seem to stay healthy, and then you got 2 guys that have been there forever. You know, if he's available right there and you can take him, if he's available, I shoot. Yeah, I think
that's another
flying in
Howie Roseman might pull his hammy going up to that podium.
Amen. You know, depending on who's available there, for sure.
So I think we need to address the pre-chat that we had where who's the former defensive lineman for Eagles/Packers. He put out a big tweet saying basically Derrick Henry to the Eagles will be a draft day trade. Don't be surprised. You heard it here first. So I think if that happens, you guys are going to have to give up one of those first-round picks. I don't know which one it is, but I think if you land a Derrick Henry, it's probably worth the 10th pick or the 20 or 30. Is it the 30th pick since Miami forfeited theirs?
Yeah, it's the 30th pick.
Yeah, 30th pick. Yeah,
30th. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, 30.
So yeah, I mean, and that that is the most insane. Like, I think I would almost rather you guys have Bijan than Derrick Henry at this point, because Derrick Henry with that offense already what it was, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you stop that. I don't know how
Well, that's the thing.
Derrick Henry.
I'm intrigued to see what would happen there with that kind of trade, right? Because the Titans are at 11. So are they just going to flop spots, and then obviously you're going to give up some other picks, like probably a second, maybe a third, or like a third and like a fourth or something. I don't know what they're going to give up for him, but you know, I don't know if it would have to be an enticing offer. I feel like for the Titans, because like you're just flopping spots. It's not like you're moving up that far.
I think you got to give up one of those 2 first-round picks.
I agree with you. I think it's got to be.
I mean, he's
probably the second of the 2, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't think they're giving up the 10th pick. They might trade away the 10th pick, but they're not going to give up the 10th pick there.
I think you're on the right track with the edge rusher.
Yeah, but
I think edge rusher, and then you give up the late first for Derrick Henry, honestly, but.
Which would be a very, very happy DJ.
That's still a disgusting draft. You get Derrick Henry and Van Ness, or Derrick Henry and a Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
Or even Miles Murphy. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer a Smith or a Van Ness, but, I'll take Murphy too. Murphy was a stud at Clemson, playing well. I mean, here, this is like, when you're walking
they're gonna draft some interior lineman with that second first round pick.
Yeah, don't even get me started. They're gonna draft some schmuck like a JJ Arcega-Whiteside or some bullshit like that.
Man. Yeah.
Or Jalen Reagor.
How sick is it though that you're obviously the runner up for Super Bowl, but still you were in the Super Bowl and you still have a top 10 pick and you have your original first round pick. I think you have 2 second-round picks. This is gross. It's almost like your GM is cheating at this point.
Well, I'll be honest with you.
He literally just watches the draft day movie or whatever with the Cleveland Browns all day long on stream. He's like, Rain Man, and coming up with all these.
Put it this way: this is the first time in a long time that anyone's thought Howie Roseman actually has some brains behind him. All right, let me tell you this, because for quite a few years there, we were sitting here confused out of our absolute minds as to what he was doing draft-wise and what he was doing trade-wise and what he was doing anywhere with personnel. It made very, very little sense, right? You're taking a J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over a D.K. Metcalf. You're taking a Jalen Reagor over a Justin Jefferson. Now, I know hindsight's 20/20, but guys who don't even watch football knew who the pick was there. And after two, he learned that I can't draft a receiver, so I'll just go trade for one off of another team. Exactly. And it worked out. AJ Brown. So, all right, yeah, I don't think we won't spend too much time here, but I would agree with you. I like an edge rusher here, and I like him trading that 30th pick for a Derrick Henry, and that would be a diabolical offense. And I don't want to make you sick, so I'm going to stop. Titans at 11, Blackburn. Who do you think?
This is another bad roster, and I don't feel like they got better. They got rid of a lot of pieces to make salary cap room for the future, I think. So, youngest, best available impact player, trade back. I've heard a lot of moving for a quarterback, but I don't think moving for a quarterback's the deal or the move for them right now. You got Tannehill, who's capable for another year or two, and if you trade up to get this quarterback, what's that quarterback going to have in a year or 2 years? Like, the roster around him is just deteriorating. It's not great. They got rid of A.J. Brown. They got rid of Robert Woods. They're going to get rid of Derrick Henry potentially. They don't have great skill positions at all. They got Treylon Burks. I mean, is anybody excited about more than 5 players on the Titans right now?
Yeah, I can't name you more than 5 players on the Titans right now. So
that's what I'm saying. So I feel like they have so many needs that best available. Maybe this is where we get a Jackson Smith and the Jigba. Maybe this is where we get the other offensive tackle. I know they let Taylor Lewan go.
I mean,
so
here's an interesting thought too. We were just talking about the trade back. I mean, let's say they got rid of Henry, they got the 30th pick from the Birds. I mean, there you could potentially see the 5th quarterback off the board with like a Hendon Hooker in the 30th spot there, rounding out that first round for them.
Yeah.
After taking somebody, like you said, youngest. I mean, they have so many holes they could literally throw at a dartboard and pick that guy because
maybe the Darnell Wright hometown kid again. Try to make the hometown fans a little bit happy. Get that anchor at left tackle, Taylor Lewan.
Yep.
I believe they cut him early in the preseason.
Yeah.
Early in the offseason, rather. Move back and then get a receiver and maybe an offensive lineman. Something that you can put around your quarterback of the future this year, next year, whatever. But I just feel like they missed their window. They had a really good team about 3 years ago when I went to the draft. They made that playoff push, and then it just all fell apart like within 2 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast that works.
And I think the biggest part of that was they lost their offensive coordinator to Atlanta as the head coach. But
yeah.
All right, Ian. Any thoughts there that are super out there?
No, man. No? I think Tennessee's going to take an offensive tackle here. I think they know they're not going to be in the hunt. They've got to go get somebody that's a road grader. They need somebody that can, hold up that line for a while. There's no sense of them. I mean, let's be honest. They'll probably have a top 7 pick next year in the draft, and there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks now that they're talking about coming out. I can see Pinnock playing for them next year and get a chance to draft him, but we'll see what happens. But I think they go offensive tackle here.
Okay. I would have to say that I don't disagree there. Texans at 12. Again, we already went over them that they need, quite a few different positions. I see them taking another sort of maybe a best available if you have Smith and Jigba there, maybe he goes. But I see them going for, some just youngest and best available also. Blackburn?
So my initial thought was that they would take Stroud. And then I personally like the coupling of a rookie quarterback with one of his college receivers.
Yep.
Because you instantly have that comfortability. You instantly have that dynamic team. The Joey Burrow, Jamar Chase. You got Jalen Hurts with Devontae Smith. You got these teams bringing in these college duos so that instantly it seems to accelerate the process of comfortability and reliability and having that security blanket. So my original thought was you take Stroud at 2 and then you come back and you get Jackson Smith and Jigba with your second first-round pick. But everything I've read seems like it's going away from that. So I think Brian Branch would be really good here. I think Van Ness would be really good here. They still need edge. They still need back half of their defense. So if they pass on the quarterback, I feel like they're gonna just try to bolster their defense as much as possible and use the running back and Davis Mills doing dump offs and stuff like that. Just trying to game management, win football games that way. I mean, their division's not very tough. You got Tennessee, we just talked about. You got the Colts, who still don't have their quarterback or whatever. You got Jacksonville's the biggest threat there, and just 2 years ago they were the worst team in football, and now they're a playoff team. So who knows what they're going to look like this coming year, especially with a former Eagles coach. Ugh. Sorry.
All good. Ian, anything differing there? Kind of along the same lines.
I think if they go defense here, they've got it, and there's a quarterback available. They'll take a quarterback here. There's no doubt about it. They've got to do something sexy to sell some tickets. And so if they go and get an edge rusher, let's say they get Wilson or they get Anderson or even Jalen Carter to clog up the middle, they've got to come back with a quarterback here. And they're probably hoping, based off what they're hearing, Anthony Richards falls to them. I don't think Levis is going to fall that far, but I think they are. And if not, they're going to have to go get a player to be able to do something. Don't be surprised if you don't see them go after a receiver here as well. Try to, they've got to do something to sell tickets to get people to come into that stadium because that team is not going to be good next year at all.
100%. And I think the next like two picks here with the Packers and the Patriots, for me, I'm going wide receivers for both of them. Maybe a tight end, but doubtful. When you got Addison, you got Flowers, you got Quentin Johnson. I think Packers and Patriots at 13 and 14 both go receiver. I can make an argument for maybe the tight end Mayer getting taken off the board potentially, but I think you got to go receiver with those guys there. What say you, Ian?
Yeah, New England's. I think I've got them taking Zay Flowers right here. This is my, Boston Boston College kid. Let's go across the street and play, and and I think that they definitely need some help across there. But don't be surprised either if the Patriots come back. You never know with Belichick what he's doing. He's back, throwing some mastermind plan together. But, they might even go offensive tackle. There's,
they could.
He can go in pretty much where he wants. But right now, too, I mean, Joey Porter's probably going to be available right here. That might be a pick, too. Their corners are terrible. I just love it because I'm not a big Patriots fan, and I love to see him struggle any chance we can get him to watch him struggle. So,
Blackburn, what say you on the Packers and the Patriots? I kind of lumped them together, but if you want to separate them, by all means, go for it.
Yeah, I think ironically the Packers will use first-round pick that they got swapped for Aaron Rodgers to draft a wide receiver, which is partially why we're in this position because they drafted Jordan Love instead of a receiver when they needed him.
Yeah.
And it's
the ultimate FU.
Yeah, it seems like their relationship has definitely deteriorated over the last 3-4 years. So I think that Quentin Johnson is the pick for Green Bay.
Okay.
Then New England is probably either an edge rusher or another receiver. I think it depends what receiver they had higher. If Green Bay took the receiver that they wanted, I think they'd go a completely different direction. Just make it look like they didn't want that receiver. Because Bill doesn't like to be outsmarted or outplayed, and
yeah,
I feel like the Jets did the swap there just to kind of jab at the Patriots a little bit, like, hey, we're going to let a team that needs a receiver ahead of you.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Packers coming in here and taking a tight end here? There's a lot of talk about them needing a tight end as well.
Their offense hasn't really featured one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but we don't know what their offense is going to look like now with Jordan Love compared to Aaron Rodgers either.
Here's my thing with the tight ends,
right?
Yeah, same coordinator for sure.
Here's my problem with the tight ends, right? I mean, you got Mayer and you got Kincaid here. Are you going to grab one of those guys over, a Zay Flowers or a Quentin Johnson? Personally, I'm not, but. Yeah. You got guys like Washington, Musgrave, even Tucker Kraft. Schoonmaker, like these guys can be taken later on. Personally, I see them taking a tight end, second, third round, maybe. I don't know if you can pass up on one of those top wide receivers there in that spot. But again, I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. I've seen worse things happen.
I think they're going to take a receiver just to say
exactly. It's just
Aaron Rodgers. Hey, love you. See you later. Don't let the door hit you on the butt on the way out.
Exactly. All right, 15. We got the Jets. I think this is the best
line.
Yep, best available. Whoever's there. If Wright's still there, potentially him. If not, then we're going to be going down a little bit here to like a Torrance or a Harrison. I think they're taking the best available offensive lineman.
I agree.
Yep. Commanders. Here, again, I'm going best available cornerback. If it's Porter and he's still there, if you have somehow Gonzalez or Witherspoon slide down that far, they're going there. But I think it's Porter. I haven't said his name yet, and I think he's going to go to the Commanders, which hurts me as a Penn State fan. Hurts me for him going there. But if somehow Porter's gone, I wouldn't be shocked with a Branch off the board here or Banks or somebody like that. But I think Porter's still on the board here at 16 for them, and right before the Pittsburgh Steelers want to take him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know they want a quarterback somewhere. I just don't think one's going to be available at this time to pick for me. If they do, it's probably only going to be Herndon's the only one left. I don't think they're willing to go up. Yeah, that's a big time reach for somebody that's hurt, right? Yep. So I think you get. I agree with you. I think they got to go corner here. I think it's either Banks or maybe even take a look at a safety in Brian Branch. You're not drafting for need. You're just drafting for one of the better players available. But I and don't be surprised if they come back and take another tackle too. They could probably use. They did sign Sam Howell, play right tackle, but they could probably use some offensive line to help as well because they just struggle with that as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. Blackburn, any thing differing there for you?
Oh yeah, this is one of the ones I'm completely different than you guys.
Okay.
So they drafted Sam Howell last year. They let him start the last game. He looked pretty good against my Cowboys. I think that they're going to go all in on him this year, and they're going to not go with any quarterbacks. I think they're going to get one of the tight ends here, either Mayer or Kincaid. Give that young quarterback a security blanket in the middle. They had Logan Thomas, I believe, but he had a bunch of injuries the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. But their offense really did feature tight ends, a lot of times 2 tight end sets even. So I think they go get that pass catcher in Mayer or Kincaid and solidify that dual threat with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. And
that's an interesting perspective there. I kind of like that for them too.
Yeah, I think it's a little high for a tight end personally, but this is the year that tight ends are good enough to deserve that high of a pick, I believe.
Yeah,
I think if there's a corner available that's in a top 20, that I think they may go. But I agree with you. I mean, their offensive line, they signed Andrew Wiley. To be able to come back on that. So, I think the biggest question is going to be about them is if there's a quarterback there, do they take a spin and try that? I don't know if they should because I think they're still probably a year away from. I mean, you guys have a decent division, that they're playing in with the Cowboys.
Just all above 500.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Okay, you could say that, but definitely, I agree with you though. That tight end would be a great fit right there if you could get one of the good ones. Yeah.
The other thing I have the other thing I think they have going for them is they have like 5 first-round picks on the defensive line. So their back half doesn't have to be great. They just have to be good enough to hold 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Jerome Payne, Chase Young, Patterson, like they got all those rushing linemen, and just they can be dominating if they get the right coaching in there, I believe. So
yeah, I would agree. All right, 17. We got the Steelers. I think they're going to go Joey Porter if he's available. If not, I think they're going to go either tackle or corner, either one, whoever's available at that point, whoever they have a little bit higher on the draft board. I could make an argument either way that they need both of those positions. So I think Porter's their guy there if he's there. If not, I think they just go to the draft board and see who do they have above who, and that's who they're taking.
Yep. I agree with you. Signing Patrick Peterson there, once he's still got left in the tank, will be interesting to see. They did sign an interior guy, so that I could see him go, offensive line. But if Jerry Porter's there, you have to take Jerry Porter if he's there, right? The question is he going to be there this late?
Yep. Well, I mean, we'll see. I haven't really talked about him much until now. The pick before this pick, so I still think he's going to be there because I think he could get swiped up earlier. Somebody could be reaching for him, so I don't know. Blackburn, any differing thoughts there?
I want Porter for them so bad, just because I think that'd be a cool story. But the other one that I was thinking about was the defensive tackle from Pitt, Elijah Cansey. He had the crazy
Yeah.
combine, and they're comparing him to Aaron Donald. He's a Pittsburgh local, so they've probably seen quite a bit of him. They also have the Pittsburgh quarterback from last year, so he can probably give some insight as to how that defense was. Excuse me.
Mhm.
So usually when the players like that
And
blow up the combine or blow up the pro days, they fly up the draft board. So
yep,
I think we could
fly
see
up the
him
draft
go a little
boards, yeah.
higher than a lot of people have him, especially to a local team.
Yep, somebody's watching him all the time. Biff's asking the question, who's the quarterback? That's Derek Carr. David Carr, I almost
Yeah.
said.
Derek Carr.
What a mistake
Yeah.
that would have been, right?
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yep, yep.
What was the question?
Who's the
Question was,
quarterback in
who's the New
Orleans?
Orleans quarterback next season? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. The Lions. The Lions at 18. This one could go a couple different ways based on who they take earlier on. I don't know. This is another spot where they could grab a tight end potentially. If not, I think they're going defense, grabbing best available corner, safety. I said that up front. So if they're taking a cornerback up front, I think they go either tight end here or potentially maybe a tackle if they're available. But interesting. I think it really based off who they take it with the first pick in their first round.
I think if it's a no-brainer if Brian Branch is available here, that they go take Brian Branch. They need some safety help. I think that's an area of where, but don't be surprised if they might reach in and take another receiver here to help out. I mean, that would help them out dramatically if they could get another receiver on the other side, give them some more help. But I'm on St. Brown's a stud. Can you pair somebody up with him to be able to take a little pressure off of him as well? That'll just open things up. But I think they're going to go defensive as well here. I think they're trying to build that defensive up, and Brian Branch seems like would be the smart pick. I don't know if he's going to be available for them at that time. Might be, but that's somebody to take a look at as well.
Yeah, but if they grab that edge rusher in the first pick, right? Maybe you do pair, because you do have Zay Flowers potentially. You have Addison Johnson.
Yeah, nobody's talked about Addison yet.
Yeah, those guys might go, and then you got St. Brown and one of those guys. I mean, with Goff throwing to, that could be good because then your backfield's pretty solid. So you're short up on defense a little bit more. And then now you're putting some more offensive weapons out there, so interesting. I think that could be good for them. But Blackburn,
Yeah, I spoke on this a little bit earlier with the first pick. Jamison Williams getting suspended for 6 games, and they cut Quentin Cephas. I think Jordan Addison could be a no-brainer pick here. Just let him play early and play opposite of Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
And then when you get Jamison back, put one of the two in the slot, and you got a nice 3-headed monster at wide receiver. They traded away their tight end, so I could also see going tight end if their guy is still there, Michael Mayer, or I think it's a little early for not Utah kid.
Kincaid.
No, I think Kincaid's already gone at Washington. For me, anyways, at that point.
Okay.
But Musgrave from Oregon State.
Yeah, Musgrave. Yep.
I think he's the third tight end on
he is. Yep. 48th overall, they're calling him.
I think it might be a little too early for him for Detroit. But if Mayer's still there, I could see them maybe going that route because it still helps with the pass catching, but it is a different position to replace Hawkinson.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Tampa Bay. Ian, what are your thoughts on Tampa Bay? You're muted.
Sorry, guys. So, obviously, there's a lot of talk about them getting a quarterback. I don't think there's going to be anything available right there. I think they're going to have to start building up from the inside as well, looking at potentially, an offensive tackle or even an interior guy here. You know, don't be shy away if there's a good, edge rusher right here as well. I think they could plug and play somebody like that in. Brian Brees coughing up the middle, that wouldn't be a bad pick for them. But I think realistically, I think they're either going to, depending on which DB is available at this time. If Banks is available, that could be somebody that I could see going there. If not, I think that they're going to go tackle. Just because if they don't move up to take a quarterback, then I think they're just going to stand pat with what they got and try to figure something out from there.
Yep, nothing different from me there. Blackburn, any ulterior?
I think the Oklahoma tackle is probably a good spot there. Harrison.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Ian, I'm going to go to you. Seahawks, 20th pick.
Well, I mean, if we take one of the defensive guys, we got to come back here. I wouldn't be surprised if they take Hendon Hooker right here. Give him some time to be able to do it. I hope they go the other way and take Richardson at 4, and then be able to come back here and take a pass rusher right here. Maybe even Will McDonough. I mean, there's another guy too. There's one other guy that hasn't been picked yet that if I saw his name, I would know who he was. But another defensive guy.
Edge rusher?
Just edge rusher. I know there was a lot of talk about Van Nuys. Miles Murphy, that's who it is. Miles Murphy to be able to come in. I think they're going to go opposite of whatever they go with the first pick. And I think potentially they might even trade up if they see somebody that's something. You just never know. With John Schneider, you think he's going to trade up and he trades down. You know what I mean? So you just never know. But I think they're going to go opposite of whatever they took. If they took defense in the first one, unless somebody's fallen right into their lap that they really like, which I don't know if they will. Don't be surprised if they take a receiver here as well, depending on if somebody dropped. They would love to get somebody. Tyler Lockett's getting older. They'd love to play him in the slot, put somebody opposite of DK on the other side. I think they would love that. They don't need any help on the offensive line except for a center, which they'll probably get in the second round. I can see that. The rest of their offensive line, they took 2 bookends last year in Cross and I can't remember the kid's name from Wazoo right off the top of my head, Lucas. I think for them, I think they're set on that for the first time, and that's what Russ was complaining and moaning about for the last 10 years. He doesn't have any deep offensive line help, doesn't have any offensive line help. But I think, here, unless somebody's fallen, free fall, and that's the best available on their board, I think they're going to go opposite whatever they take here. So if they took a quarterback early, they're going to come back here and take probably an edge rusher. They need that a little bit more than on the interior, and then flip-flop it if it's the other way.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Blackburn, anything different there? Kind of agree.
Yeah. I really like Jordan Addison as a Tyler Lockett replacement if he's still there. But now with New England and Green Bay in that position to take receivers, I don't know if he makes it to 20. But I feel like he's a very similar player to Lockett.
Yep.
And if he could sit behind Lockett for a year or two, I think that would help him be a better pro.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't have to sit Blackburn. They would just move.
Well,
I
mean, you
but
get them both in the lineup, but he takes over that role.
You're 100% correct. They're a lot of alike, and Pete loves kids from USC. Just because he was coaching there, he's got connections down there. He knows how to talk to people down there. There was some talk about him earlier in the draftness, as they like to call it up here. But I think just right now, is need wise, I think they're going to go somewhere else. But don't be surprised if you don't see a receiver come off of the second round for them with one of their 2 picks there.
All right,
your class is pretty deep too. So
yeah, there's some good guys here. Chargers could use a receiver. Don't think that's their main priority here, but Blackburn, what do you think on the Chargers at 21?
They got our offensive coordinator now, huh?
Yep.
I mean, they could use a receiver too with Mike Williams and
Keenan.
The other guy that's always hurt.
Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
They could use a receiver here.
Palmer was good last year too for them, but yeah, they could definitely use somebody.
Who's their tight end?
had him on one of my
Oh,
fantasy teams. I
yeah.
can't remember.
Hold on.
The question is, though, to be honest with you guys, the big thing here is Eckler going to get traded at all? The guy wants to be traded. He's out there trying to get anything. I
don't see them
wants to give
getting
up on it
value
for them.
for him.
Yeah, I don't either.
And I think he's more valuable on their team, so I don't think they end up taking it. I think they entertain offers, but I don't think they get offered enough, especially if Derrick Henry moves that same weekend and some of these other players get moved. Like, not seeing that. But I just know Kellen
what do you guys think about
more
an edge
like
rusher?
to throw to the tight end. So if
Everett's their tight end
available,
Gerald
Everett, yeah.
Gerald Everett, yeah, he was terrible when he was a
Jag. He's a Jag.
he dropped so many balls. He was terrible. Yeah,
Jag. So if there's a top tier tight end, Kellen Moore loves tight ends. He features Dalton Schultz. He drafted 2 last year for us with Ferguson and Hendershot. So I can see that. I can see an edge rusher like Ian was saying.
Yeah, just a backup.
Offensive lineman to try to protect the quarterback there. Yeah. The Florida kid, was it Cypress or Osiris Torrance?
Yeah, Torrance. Yeah, Torrance.
I could see him going offensive line to try to protect the quarterback there a little bit. He took a lot of sacks last year.
Yeah. Who we got next? We got the Ravens next. I see them going defense personally. If Branch is available, if Banks is available, I think they take one of those 2 guys off the board. If not, maybe Forbes potentially. They could use some offensive line help, so Torrance or Harrison might not be a bad option for them. But I think they're going defense personally.
Do we think Lamar stays put then?
I do, because OBJ wouldn't have signed with him if he didn't know who his quarterback was. Unless they have something crazy in the works.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be surprised. Somebody might pull up there and just say, okay, I'll give you, next year's number 1 and this year's number 1. Let's sign him to an offer sheet. I mean, Hurts signing his deal helped him out. The one that keeps screwing this kid up is the deal that they got for, Watson. I mean that's just screwing everything up. You know what I mean? And it's just, but they could use some some corner help here too. But I think Lamar Jackson's going to come back in. I think he's going to he'll wait till probably a week beforehand. You know what I mean? And they lost Marcus Peters, so they don't have a corner there. They could Forbes would be a good one here. There's another corner that's right around that time as well. That might be somebody to look at as well.
Yep. All right. Who's next? The Vikings. I see the Vikings in a similar spot, looking for a corner to help them out. I could see them going potentially for a wide receiver if one of those top guys slides down a little bit more. But
they lost Adam Thielen, right? So they don't have anybody opposite
Jefferson. They cut him and he went to Carolina.
Yeah, exactly. And so you don't have anybody really that's on the other side to be able to do that.
Receiver is a priority for sure.
Yep, yeah, I agree with you.
I just don't know. The thing is, if those top 4 or 5 guys are off the board, I don't know if they're gonna go for a Hyatt down here, 38.
You can stretch
other than
for sure.
Yeah, it'd be a stretch pick. I think they shore up their defense a little bit more and maybe try to grab a wide receiver coming back in the second round or something. Just my thoughts there.
Yeah.
It's what's really crazy in this draft so far is we haven't seen a linebacker come off the board yet. A true linebacker.
I don't think there's.
You know what I mean?
I don't think there's a linebacker in the top 32. Is there?
You got I mean,
Campbell's number 1 at like 39 to 40 range. I think.
Yeah, I think
kid out of Wazoo's pretty good too.
Your linebackers here. I mean, some are calling Nolan Smith a linebacker or whatever. You got Sanders, Simpson, Campbell. I mean, again, these guys are all, I think, mid-second round picks, if not going later than that.
Yeah.
So
I just think it's surprising that just no linebackers.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of them fell last year too. The Utah kid, the Georgia kid. They all fell down to the second round last year.
Well, the Georgia kid slid N'Kobe Dean slid all the way to us.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
second or third round, I think.
Third round pick for him.
Yeah.
Which was
Yep.
wild because I know there was stuff they were talking about potentially grabbing him in the first, like reaching for him in the first, and then he slid down, and I was like, oh, for sure they're grabbing him in the second, and then didn't touch him, and then next thing I know, he's there in the third, and they're grabbing him then. I was like, well, that just worked out like a gem for you, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
What about, hold on, before we move off the Vikings, what about Dalvin Cook? Do you think he gets moved during the draft? There's been a lot of talk of that as well.
Whew. I don't know if I'd take a flyer on him right now.
That's the thing, yeah.
They did a new contract for Madison, and then they allegedly have been either shopping or trying to get a restructure out of Dalvin Cook. So, you think the Dolphins, who had to forfeit the first round pick, maybe make a play for a running back like that, or no? Am I overthinking that?
Well, they just re-signed Mozart and
Yeah.
Wilson,
Yeah,
right?
they re-signed
Plus
all three of them.
Yeah, they even got Miles Gaskin
they
as
all
well.
got,
All
like,
4'3" of them, Yeah.
Yeah, they all got
One-year
like 1 year deals, league minimum
Yeah.
crap. So like, I don't think they have enough vested, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're thinking too far into it. Reaching maybe a tad, but I guess it's definitely a possibility. That
like
it
for
could
fantasy purposes, do you make a move for Madison in anticipation that Cook might get moved?
I
They already
think that's a
gave him the
smart
money.
play. I think that could be a smart play because even last year, right? You saw Cook's numbers, just going down and down and down, and even in like meaningful plays. I mean, Madison was in on any play that mattered. Madison was in 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So I think they made it pretty clear, but what do I know? I just sit here and talk. I guess they don't pay me enough to sit in the front office and make any decisions.
Right.
Even though I'd love that job.
There.
So I guess any NFL team, if you want any one of the three of us, you can hire all three of us for the same price.
And I'll do it for the league minimum. So.
All right, don't sell yourself short there. At least $1 over the league minimum. Come on now.
No, I'll do it league minimum. I'll be the tackle dummy too on Fridays.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, we're coming down to the bottom of the draft here, or the bottom of the first round. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars at 24. I think they need a lot of defensive help. I think they're going best defensive person available, corner, safety, maybe a lineman, depending who's there. But I think they're going defense.
What about a running back too? I mean, it's probably too high to take a running back in the first round. Considering.
Yeah, I think it's too high. I see like
two. It's just Travis
Gibbs is the only one, and he's too close to ET, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I see like I don't know if one of these guys up here slides like a Murphy slides or I don't know if a Van Ness would slide. I don't know. Potentially maybe a Cansey here.
McDonald.
Yeah, McDonald could be a good one. I mean, I think they're focusing defensively there though. Personally,
you think so? You don't think they're going to look at offensive tackle as well, right? Didn't they lose? They're starting right tackle. They lost somebody on the offensive line. I know. I can't remember who it was. Yeah.
Juwan Taylor?
Yeah,
Taylor,
yeah,
I think went to the or whatever, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they lost Juwan Taylor. I mean, if Harrison's there, maybe they try to grab Harrison. I don't know. Tackle-wise, though, I feel like you're reaching now. You're going to come down here to DeJuan Jones at 43.
Yeah. No,
I think one of those defensive players up here is your better bet, personally. But, yeah, well, they don't get paid money for it.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously their defense wasn't exactly the best in the world, and cornerback might be an option too. Rumor has it they're going to get rid of the old Seahawk guy and Shaquille Griffin as well. Mm-hmm. He didn't put up the numbers. They were paying him $14 million a year, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets released right around. Yeah. So looking for a solid corner. If there's a corner available at this high up too, they might look that way as well.
Yep. The Giants,
jeez,
they could go a number of ways here. I wide receiver possibly, maybe a cornerback like a Cam Smith here. If Forbes is still available, I don't know. I see them I see them going one of those two directions,
Yeah, I
just to
think
help out Danny
receiver.
Dimes because they got Hodges who was a tank last year. He played well. I think they need more help there, but again, I see these top four guys gone. I think they're going to be reaching a bit. It's not going to kill me if they reach. They can reach all they want. They can reach for the stars.
Well, and don't forget too, Julian Love came over to the Hawks. We signed him as a free agent out of there as well. They could use a safety here. Don't be surprised if they come in and try to find a safety to come backfill for him as well.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
I think they've been looking for linebacker and wide receiver for like the last 3 years, and they've missed on everything that they've tried to do at those two positions.
Yeah.
But out of the box thinking, what about a Gibbs to pair up with Barkley here?
It's an interesting thought. Yep.
Nice 1-2 punch. He can throw him passes out of the backfield. He can break it open. You keep Barkley healthy and fresh on every play by mixing them up. Maybe 4 or 5 carries for Barkley for every one that Gibbs gets. Kind of use him as like an Alvin Kamara role when he first came out.
Yep. And then then if Barkley doesn't want to sign a long-term deal next year, you let him go.
Yeah.
And you've got your running back. That's a good call.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I do think linebacker and receiver are higher priorities for them. So you could see maybe the what's his name, linebacker for Iowa, Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
You could see him maybe reach to take that linebacker, or Drew Sanders from Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I have no problem with either one of those picks. I think logical there. All right, Blackburn, I'm going to you. 26. The Cowboys.
So I want Bijan. Bijan's already gone in this mock. I want Clancy, Pittsburgh D tackle. He's already gone. And then tight end, I like Dalton Kincaid. I don't really care for Michael Mayer. I think he's a slower version of Jason Witten, so I'm not real big on that. Just because I don't think the game is what it was when Jason Witten played. So the tight end position has evolved. But based on what's available and who was taken by us, Reese's probably my pick here, D-tackle from Clemson.
Yep.
I don't think we've had a difference maker at D-tackle for the last, 4 or 5 years.
Would you take him? Well, did we say Broderick Jones was gone? Did we say Jones was taken? I can't remember. He was the kid out of Georgia that we looked at. Yeah, tackle out of
Did we?
Out of Georgia.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's yeah.
I mean, we kind of gave him to a best available a couple times. I mean, again.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah,
I
don't think I would go offensive
say his
tackle
name
in the first round anyways. Dallas has had some pretty good luck with later round offensive linemen. And we did second round tender the right tackle there. And we drafted, was it Trey Smith last year, who played left tackle and then left guard. And then Tyron Smith did a rework for a year. So I think we need somebody that's going to get on the field right away.
What's their interior on the defensive side look like?
We got the veteran that we traded with Las Vegas. Was it Harrison? And then we have undersized, starts with the O.G. Wozy, or something like that. I can't pronounce the name, but
I'm just
you got Micah on the edge, and you got Marcus Lawrence on the edge, and then we got the rookie Sam Williams. So, we got the edge rushers. We need those gap fillers in the middle, somebody that can maybe put some pressure in the center and force those guys to the edge where Parsons will be there waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We can quickly glance through these last couple picks here, and then we can call it because I know it's getting kind of late for people. We got the Bills. Ian,
linebacker.
Bills?
I think they got to go linebacker right here. They lost some guys in free agency. I think linebacker is available here. If they could get a decent running back, it might be a spot as well.
Yeah, I like the linebacker play. If let's say the Giants didn't take Gibbs, I could see the Bills going for Gibbs here easily. But at this
Just
point, I feel like
Tremaine Edmonds gone. I think they got.
they could also they could also
What about the Michigan D tackle Mazzie Smith?
yeah, another option for them. I mean, I guess the thing that comes really down to, especially like the end of this first round, right, is who's higher on these draft boards for these teams. They need a couple positions equally.
And
so
this
I think
is where we see people trading out too.
Yep.
To try to save some salary cap, and for teams that are trying to trade back in to get that fifth-year option for a certain player they have high.
Yep.
Yeah. We got the Bengals. This is the key
spot for that.
Yeah, the Bengals. I wouldn't be shocked if the Bengals trade out of this spot. They do need some offensive line help though. But
tight end too.
Tight end.
Tight end would be a good spot for them.
Tight end to Hayden Hurst.
They lost Hayden Hurst.
Whatchamacallit? Carolina.
Yeah, I see them maybe grabbing like a Musgrave here, or Darnell Washington. I guess
Washington would be a freak in that offense.
Yeah, whoever would be higher on the draft board. I mean, Washington's a stud, so maybe him.
Yeah. If he can formulate like his skills to go with his athletic ability, like that kid could be crazy.
Yeah.
I saw some crazy workout videos, dude squatting like ridiculous amounts and doing those jumps out of up onto boxes out of a pool, and this dude's a freak.
Yep.
All right. The Saints, they have quite a few issues. I think here you can see another linebacker going, unless you have
interior lineman or interior D lineman as well.
Yep, exactly. Whoever they have higher on the board, either linebacker or one of those defensive linemen. I think that's where they're going here.
First center here potentially as well.
Yeah, you could. The Eagles. I personally speaking, I see them trading out of this spot. We already talked about
Henry,
it.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think this is the pick they trade away for Derrick Henry, but
no, they're going to end up going to get Dalvin Cook.
Hell no.
Oh man, how bad?
What if the Eagles got Gibbs here? Would you be mad at that?
No, I wouldn't be mad at that. Not at all.
Pair him with Penny.
Yeah,
I think they need another running back, man, because Penny's good for about 4 or 5 games, you guys.
Well, they still have Gainwell.
4 or 5 games.
They still have Gainwell.
They have Scott.
Yeah, Boston Scott and Gainwell.
Gainwell, and Penny. Scott, so they could use one more running back though for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing with, I don't know if they go for like an edge rusher or something in the first pick in the first round, and they don't make the move for Derrick Henry. Maybe it gives here, or maybe they just take Robinson with the first pick in the first round that they have, the 10th.
You would love that, wouldn't you? And you love that.
They just end the Derrick Henry
Dallas.
stuff,
just screw Dallas by taking the real player that they want.
Realistically, I don't think Bijan should make it to 26.
Yeah.
I think if he starts to get to like the 16, 17 range, Jerry's going to be thinking
people
about
are leapfrogging. Oh yeah,
Jerry's going to be trying to trade up to get Bijan.
I don't think he's the only one either. I think there's going to be a couple teams trying to get up there. Yeah. So
realistically, I haven't seen a board that doesn't have Bijan as a top 10 talent at least.
Oh yeah,
everybody's got him at top 10. It's just need.
It's not top 5.
That's the thing. It's like that we went over the top teams. Like, fortunately for them or for him, they're looking over the running backs. But that might be better for him honestly, because there's some bad teams in that top 10, and
yeah.
So, all right.
If you're a GM though, and you're putting together a team, you're not going to put that kind of draft capital in a running back whose career is probably going to be 3 to 5 years.
True.
Because if your team's not ready to win in the next 3 to 5 years, why take that pick? You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can take an offensive tackle who's going to play for 8 to 10. You could take a receiver who's going to pay 10 to 12. A quarterback who hopefully you're going to get for 10 years. Like, a running back, the lifespan on them is just shorter than every other position. It's just the nature of the pounding that they take.
Yep. All right, last pick, first round. We got the Chiefs. Ian, thoughts on the Chiefs?
Well, they lost Frank Clark. They let Frank Clark go, and so I think they need some help on the edge. There's always talk about them needing another receiver. They lost Juju Smith. I can't remember who he signed with. Maybe Blackburn, you can remind me who he signed with. He just signed
Juju
with somebody.
signed with the Patriots.
Patriots,
Yeah,
that's
Patriots.
what it was. Yeah, thanks, appreciate it. I knew you'd know that off the top of your head. I don't think they need to worry about offensive tackle with getting Orlando Brown, or signing Jawan Taylor. But I think they need a big body too, somewhere that can go across from Kelsey, somebody that can go up and get the ball. I don't know who's available this late, and what they'd be willing to do, but they could also trade out of it as well, realistically. But I'd like to see them go get an edge rusher. I think they're going to need somebody out there that can rush it. Now that Frank Clark's no longer there.
Blackburn, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you're going to have a lot of teams trying to get back into the first round for that fifth-year option. And like we saw the Patriots do so many times when they had Super Bowls and were runner-up of the Super Bowl, they were able to move back and collect multiple picks and just bolster their roster every single year. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised you see the Chiefs do that. Andy Reid is a smart coach, and they got a good GM. And yeah. This draft that we've talked about numerous times is very deep, and I think the top end talent at this point is gone. So why not try to get 3 or 4 picks and hope to hit, than just take 1 or 2 guys? You know what I mean? So
yep. Yeah, I'd have to agree 100%. I'm
looking forward to at least 2 or 3 of the bottom 5 picks trade out.
I'm looking forward to this draft. Interesting to see.
I think there's going to be 7 or 8 trades. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Blackburn, I'm jealous you're going to be there. Hope you enjoy it.
You should come, man. Plan for it for next year.
Yeah, next year, I will try my best.
Next year it's in Detroit, so mark it on your calendar and plan it. Talk to Miss Dejen. Tell her this is what we're doing. That's what I do in Miss Blackburn. She's in bed. She didn't hear me, so I'm okay.
There you go. Well, all right, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys coming on and chatting sports. Always great to talk with you guys, and hopefully everybody at home found this enjoyable and entertaining. Maybe you learned something about football in the draft, or maybe you just watch us all flop on our face when we watch some ridiculous picks go down. But, who knows? Good show, though. Appreciate you guys coming on. Blackburn, any final words?
No, appreciate having me. Hopefully I was able to help and contribute and not overstep on anybody too much. But
oh, no, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
I even busted out the Hershey Yingling since I got
there you
in the room.
There you go.
Even though I'm an Ohio guy.
There you go.
Ian, any final words for you?
Classic. No, man, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a draft party here at the house. I think there was talk we put in for the draft party at the CX, but we didn't hear today, so I doubt we won. But looking forward to it. We haven't picked up then since we drafted Aaron Curry, which was like the year before Pete got here. So it's been a while since we've had a top 10 pick. Looking forward to it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. A lot of stuff's going to be around that Seattle pick. I think there'll be some trades above us that might move some stuff around, and then what we do at 20 is going to be a whole new story because there's just so many opportunities to go with it, what they want there. I mean, realistically, they might shock the world and take another corner at 20. You just never know. We got defense in the back right now. It's going to be interesting to see what he does, though. But hopefully it goes defense and then offense, but we'll see what happens. So thanks again for letting me jump on and spew some puke about football during hockey season. By the way, cracking her up 2-1 against the Avalanche. So
there you go. No, I appreciate both of you coming on and chatting. And I always like having a couple people on, and we can kind of go back and forth, different perspectives, and just bounce ideas and stuff. So always good rather than just one person sitting here rambling on about God knows what. So yeah, appreciate you both coming on. For those of you watching, appreciate you guys in
Anytime.
chat and all that kind of stuff. Maybe a draft show. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the schedules
Yeah,
are
let's
looking
do a
like.
recap.
But yeah, we'll definitely do a recap. And
Yeah.
again, hope you guys have a great night. Hope everyone online has a great night. And hopefully your team picks who you
Thanks,
want them to
everybody.
pick. And if you don't like whoever your team picked, let us know in Discord. Drop it in the sportsbook tab or in the Dice DJing community tab.
Oh, I would
And
love that.
we'll chat about it. We'll chat about it. But guys, everyone have a
Yeah,
great night.
for sure.
And we'll talk to you all soon.